Hello everybody, my name is Carrow Brown. I'm an urban fantasy author and we're here to talk about my planner system version 2. So I already did a video about the planning system that I was going to be using in 2023, and I'm doing another video because what happened is, if you go look at that video, I talked about how this particular planner was going to bother me because it was bigger than the rest of them, and that is in fact what happened. It bothered me to the point where my husband and I tried to do something about it. So the long short story about why I ended up doing another video and upgrading everything was because in the original video that I posted when I was talking about my system for 2023, I was actually working with these little passport notebooks, and I absolutely still love them. They're perfect. And the thing that bothered me was this guy right here in the back, and the reason it bothered me is because this is an A6 and these are passport sizes, so obviously it was a little bigger. I tried to talk to a couple of office stores to see if they had book cutters, and they didn't, and I talked to my husband about it, and we tried to problem solve it, and I had like a really old one of these that I was actually about to recycle because I don't really keep these past 2 years, and he took it to the saw machine that we have in the workshop, and we were able to cut it and it did look okay, but it was a little rickety, and we decided that we weren't going to do that. So he just told me to go and get more inserts and just basically upgrade the system, and that's actually what I did. And I'll tell you guys what, I'm really happy I did because I feel a lot more confident about what I'm doing here with Chonky, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that today. So if anybody's interested, this cover is from Puka Pad. I'll put a link down below if you guys really want one. It's an A6 version, and it barely contains all the little notebooks that I have in here, and you know what, it's on brand because that's why this notebook is called Chonky. So the first one that we have here is actually my gaming notebook, and I can't really put it in the elastic just because it comes in and out with a lot of frequency. And there's not really too much to talk about with this. This is just the thing that I track all my gaming stuff with. Up here on the top is going to be the money that my characters have in Final Fantasy, along with the net total at the top, so that way I have an idea of how much money I have in the game. These are going to be weeklies. This is going to be the summary of anything that I do in the game in the terms of like roleplay, because for those of you who don't know, I'm a role player in MMOs, so sometimes I don't remember all of the events that transcribe forever in my mind, so I just have like a little summary. And then down here is just all the Pokemon stuff that we have going on, so that's pretty much that. Now, the notebooks that I have in here are actually from the Wonderland series, and I got the A5 on a whim, and I fucking loved it. I am a big sucker for Tomoe River paper, and once I saw that this is what the notebook had, I was like, that's it, I'm all for it. And I'm gonna do some decor here, but I wanted to leave it open to show you guys the notebook and the brand and all that. Highly recommend. I got the A5 on a whim, loved it, saw they had blank A6s and definitely went for that. And they have other planners as well if you guys are interested in getting that, so go ahead, and I'll put a link down below for you guys on that too. This first thing I have here is a birthday calendar, and I started keeping these because I actually lost a friend because I forgot her birthday, and so it's kind of given me like a hyper awareness of when birthdays occur. So I have this calendar right here. You could call it like you know, a future log or anything else like that, but I really just use it for birthdays. That's it. The first layout that I do here is again the level up, the level 10 life kind of goal system that I have. I don't really measure where I am right now. I'm kind of moving on where I want to go, which isn't how you do that. You usually mark where you are right now and then go where you want improvement. But I really like how you kind of categorize everything in terms of what you're trying to do with your life. So I upgraded that, and I added the things I want to be doing for the next 3 months on here. And right after that, this is actually a system that I'm really fond of, and it's kind of like a 13-week frequency tracker. Now, it looks a little bit like this. This is one that I used earlier this year, and basically you break the quarter up into 13-week segments, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's what those 3 dots are supposed to represent. And the intention is that whatever it is that you're working on, as long as you work on it 3 times a week, then you're making progress towards it. So this is what I use to track how I'm doing with that. Now you guys can kind of see where I was like really staying on top of things, you know, on here, and then you can also see where like it deviated out. During the, looks like the second quarter of this particular year, I lost like complete interest in playing Final Fantasy. You can see how it tapered off. And I use this again to track when I'm working on it, and if I'm not working on it anymore, I tend to ask myself important questions like, why am I not doing that anymore? But again, these are going to be the things that I'm going to be tracking over the course of the next 3 months. I'll be putting little dots on them and seeing how that goes. In some cases, like these are the 3 books that I want to work on in the next 3 months. So what's going to happen is probably for the first 4 weeks, I'll see like 3 dots here, and that's going to go down. And then there'll be dots here, and then that's going to go, and then, you know. So that's pretty much how I'm going to be using that. And again, I really use it more as kind of like a frequency tool, tracking my progress, how much I'm working on something, when I need to drop things. What you decide to track on here is really up to you, although I do try to make sure that it falls within the goals that I have right here. After that, it's going to be my tarot card spread where I pull the cards for the month right here, and then I've got the card, like the card theme for the month, so it looks a little bit like this. So these are the cards I pulled for December, and this is the card I wanted to pull for the entire month. Again, this is one of the cards from the deck that I designed, that's in my book Carrow's Tarot, and I've got like all of them printed out on photo paper right now, but I'm still working on trying to get that deck produced. So, but yeah, so I'll fill in that, put that one card there, move on. And then the calendar layout is pretty much how you see it right here. This is going to be where I track what's going on, what's going to be eating up my time. I've got my blog topics right here. I've got the YouTube streaming that I'm going to be trying to do over here. And then I haven't filled in my level 10 objectives for the month right here. I'm going to after this video. I didn't want to do it because some of these, again, are a little bit private in that sense. And then one of the things I have talked about in a couple of videos is that I'm trying to do Millwordy again. Millwordy version, attempt 2. And one of the things that I thought would help me is if I actually did the word tracker on the same place that I'm looking at all this other stuff, so that way I've always got a visual on it. So that's what I'll be doing, and this is pretty much what the rest of this part of the insert looks like, except when we get to, this is my author tracking stuff right here. So these are all the stories that I'm trying to get done within the course of 2023, and there's some room down here because maybe there'll be an anthology or something that will come out and I would like to partake in that, so I left those available just in case. This side is really going to be me tracking the reviews I get for my works, and then any reviewers that I might be reaching out for a particular title. So that's going to be that right there. Again, no spend challenge. If you guys are new here and you don't know me very well, I have a chronic therapy or shop therapy problem. So I'm trying to save money, mostly because I might be moving in 2023, so I can't really be affording to like stress spend. So this is going to be what I'm using for that. And then this waiting on page is going to be for when I do buy things, and I've kept it to one page because I'm hoping if I limit how much room I give myself to order things, I won't do it as much. So that's the hope. We'll check back in at the end of the year and see how that goes. This is my author expense stuff. So this will be the income that I make over the year, who I'm making it under or what I'm making it under. I do have merch. I know that I don't talk about it very often, but I do. I've got contract work that I do some consulting, and then I broke down who's going to make more money between my two pen names because I was very curious about that. And then right here will be any of the cost items that I end up spending. And again, because I am trying to do a no spend challenge, I'm trying to limit how much I'm spending on the author stuff, especially if I'm trying to make money. It does make sense that you want to take what you make and reinvest it, but at some point you kind of have to taper that off just a little bit. Social media planner, so this is going to be, it looks a little different on here, but what I've got is a code, and this is typically what I try to do with a lot of my systems, where I make the system, but I make it so I don't have to color coordinate, because if I have to go hunting for markers or try and figure out what kind of marker I need to be using to color code something, that adds friction, as I like to call it, and it makes me less inclined to do it. So everything that I do here is with symbols, and that way I can only use one pen and call it good. But what I'm going to be doing on this is I'm going to be tracking my activity with social media. Got the months on the top, the days over here, and I'm basically going to put this icon for where I'm doing social media at. And then here will be my follower logs. My goals with social media is to kind of grow at least by 5% by the end of the year, which isn't really very much in the big scheme of things, but it's still growth, and that's kind of where I'm aiming for that. Let's see, and then we move into the weekly tracker after that. So the weekly tracker right here, these are all the things that I typically need to get done on a weekly basis. These will be any of the big appointments that I need to make, and over here are just some weekly tracker things and reminders and calendars. And that's what the rest of this notebook looks like, so we'll go ahead and skip to this one. This is just the daily log. I have to have a daily log at this point. I tried to get away from it, but I couldn't. And this is going to be the big moving to-do checklist. I'm not done with it yet. It's still in the works, but this is where all the moving stuff will be, because I may be moving, but I'm pretty confident I am, so I'm just getting that set up. And this is what it all looks like. It's going to be my to-do list on this side, anything I eat, because I'm trying to be more mindful about the food that I digest. And then over here is going to be my agenda. I'm having it end at 6, although my days usually go on until 10, and probably what's going to happen is if I need to take this down further, Not in the course of January because I've already set January up, but when I get into February, I'll probably change that layout just a little tiny bit. But yeah, so I've got the agenda here, those things right here, and then this is any notes that I have to take for the day, and this is all the space that I really need. And it's kind of a play on this layout that I have in this notebook right here, and it's been really good for me. I've really appreciated it. Normally what I do is I have like the agenda here, checklist over here, and all this other stuff that you see on one page, and then my notes on that. But one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of times I don't take up a lot of space on there, so I've just put it right there. And this one notebook, again, it's a Wonderland, and it is 365 pages. So every day is, you know, everything on here is one particular day. And what I did was I went and marked where all the months start for different months, so that way I can find a little bit easier. It needs a little bit of cleanup right here, but I'm really excited about this, and I can't really wait to kind of leap into this notebook. I'm really kind of excited for the end of the year, so that way I can start writing in this thing. The last notebook is actually the big reason why I ended up doing this big switch anyway, and it was just the Hobonichi A6. And again, this is pretty much what I'm going to be using as my journal throughout the year. And I have found that journaling and self-reflecting has been really helpful for me in 2022, and I wanted to keep doing it. And I tried to do you know, a passport attempt at this, and I hated it. I tried to use another journal, and what I really wanted to do was just basically write in one of these. So that's what I did. I didn't even fight it anymore. On here is going to be pretty much my mood tracker for the year. And again, just using a pen system, so triangles for good, circles for okay, and then dark circles for not okay, so that way I can see them a lot faster. The year at a glance, this is my fitness tracker. I took this inspiration from Lindsay Scribbles, but I'm kind of going a little further with it in the sense that I've got my weight right here, I've got what cardio exercise I do right here, and then any other activities on this side. And again, I've got like my little key on the very top here, so that way at a glance I can see what kind of activity levels I'm doing. And I've been pretty big on tracking my sleep on the past, and I stopped doing that. And I notice when I don't track my sleep is when I actually have really shitty sleep. So I've gotten back into doing that right here. And let's take one more look. So I was going to use this more as like my gratitude log, but when I move into the actual days, that's pretty much where the gratitude is going to move. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to change this daily layout to the word of the day. And the word of the day is something that my husband and I do every day. So we go to like Webster's Dictionary, find the word of the day, put the word on the top, and then I'm going to put the word that it means right here. On the other side, this is pretty much kind of like my mini log, so I'm not going to show that right now. But yeah, that's going to be the intention of that, and that's pretty much how I'm going to want to use it. I'm trying to get to the back here. Give me one second. So these pages are always kind of fun for me to use. The little freedom pages, I like to call them, in the back as soon as I can get over there. One downside to my river paper. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is my media digest, as I like to call it. So any books, manga, TV shows, anything that I read. Again, because I work in, one of the contracts that I do is within film and TV and games. So I like to stay kind of updated on what's coming out, because a lot of times I've noticed in some of these meetings they keep referencing things that I hadn't really seen. So I've been trying to be more on top of that. So that will go on for about that many pages. Here is kind of like a self-care bingo thing. I haven't filled this in yet, but I'm trying to fill in things for self-care, because that is, again, one of the things that I want to stay on top of to make sure that I am fully functional. And then here I've got like a little cleaning items checklist. I'm not quite done with this, but I've got things that I like to do on a daily basis, and then things that I would like to do on monthly and quarterly, and then I'll have some yearly stuff down here. And so, and if you guys take a look here, there's not really like a big monthly to do on here. So what it is that these are just the items that I would like to try and do at least 31 times throughout the course of the year. And there's 52 weeks in a year, so my thought is that if I can at least do this 31 times, then I'll probably be doing pretty good. And some of the stuff I don't do like every week. Like I'm not going to need to clean my desk every week, just because I tend to stay pretty on top of it, although during certain times it does get a little out of hand, so that becomes an item that I would do. But yeah, so that is chunky. But this is going to be my planner moving forward, and I am saying one planner, you know, I'm using singular, because I'm telling myself that by saying this is a traveler's notebook, I'm not in fact using 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not in fact using 4 planners. So that's me lying to myself. I would appreciate it if you guys kind of went along with that. But this is what I'm going to use to track everything that I have going on and going forward, and I am going to do my best to not planner hop after this, because if there's one thing I tend to say in a lot of these videos is that planning and planners is not cheap. It is an expensive endeavor, and so my goal is to stick with this, only this, and not jump into some kind of other system. But that is going to be me for the day. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, or you want me to talk about any of these products any further, please feel free to leave that feedback down in the comment section down below. Again, I really do love these Wonderland planners like nobody's business, and I'm really looking forward to using them. And I can't wait to see how chunky I'm going to get this thing, because you can already see where it's getting a little thick. Oh, that's exciting. I can't wait. If you've got your own planner videos or anything else like that, let me know in the comments, and then I'll go check out your channel to see it. I am absolutely super nosy, and this is the season to be looking at how everybody is planning and how they're going about planning and their layouts and all that other stuff. Like, the planner porn is real, and I am all for diving in and watching more of it. But that will be me for the day. Thank you guys for coming and spending a little bit of time with me and Chunky, and I will talk to you guys all again real soon. Bye!